Folks, I'm going to call the meeting to order. As required under the Planning Act, a meeting is being held prior to a decision being made on these applications. All right, and to start things off, I will introduce what we have of a committee today. I'm Mr. Robertson. We've got Mr. Strangway, Ms. Archer, and Mr. Finn. And staff, and let me go through the list. We've got a list today. We've got Director of Development Services, Ms. Berry. We've got Catherine Evans, the Development Supervisor. And we've got Mr. Shahid, Mr. Rakawat, Mr. Ghaffari, and Ms. Coughlin, all Planner 2s. And we've got Mr. McKinnon, the Supervisor, Plans Review and Inspections. And Mr. Lahaye, our Secretary-Treasurer, and maybe the most important person here, Ms. Crockford, our Recording Secretary. All righty. All right, having said all that, are there any comments or questions with respect to the printed agenda? I'm going to ask for an amendment to the agenda. Director Berry is going to make a short presentation at the beginning regarding the changes to the new bylaw situation. So if there's no further questions, then I'll ask for a motion to adopt the amended agenda. Mr. Strangway, Mr. Finn, any further comments with respect to the amended agenda? All those in favor? And that carries. All right. Having a look at the, well, first of all, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Being none. The minutes of the last meeting. Any comments or questions before I ask for a motion? Being none, can I get a motion then to adopt those minutes as printed? Ms. Archer, Mr. Finn, second. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? And that carries. Ms. Berry, if you would please.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. So you have all been hearing about the city's rural zoning bylaw for quite some time, and we do have an update for you today. But for a brief maybe recap of past events, bear with me and we will get to the decision in just a moment. So since amalgamation in 2001, we have been challenged with administering 18 zoning bylaws as well as the Oak Ridges Moraine zoning bylaw. The combination of both outdated standards and regulations between areas across the city prompted Council's decision to create a new comprehensive rural zoning bylaw for the municipality through the consolidation of 14 former township zoning bylaws. So that was work that we initiated in 2019, and we retained the services of WSP to develop the bylaw in May of 2020. Council adopted the new rural zoning bylaw almost exactly 4 years later on May 21st, 2024. The city did receive a number of appeals, which took the matter to the Ontario Land Tribunal, or OLT, from that point forward. Through a series of settlements and hearings at the OLT over the past 2 years, the OLT has issued its decision. The tribunal accepted all of our evidence on all of the issues, including our recommended minor revisions for cemeteries and dog kennels. So aside from those minor revisions, the entire balance of the single global appeal to the bylaw was dismissed. This effectively means the new rural zoning bylaw is in effect. It is a significant milestone for the city, long awaited, of course, much anticipated new rural zoning bylaw. Staff have begun to apply the new bylaw to inquiries and to applications, though we are doing this with caution, because although the new bylaw is in effect, there are a number of further actions that need to be completed to achieve full implementation, like waiting several statutory timelines over the next 30 days following issuance of the decision to confirm no notice of legal review or appeal by the appellant or by the city, and consolidating settlements that we have reached with appellants since last January. So added to that, the OLT did not provide a transition period between the order issuance and implementation. So out of an abundance of caution, we will continue to work under a dual zoning bylaw regime for the time being, and of course, bring you further updates as we advance implementation of the new bylaw. So of course, Mr. Chair, that brings me to today's proceedings. Staff mobilized very quickly the last few days after receiving the OLT decision late last week to review today's roster of minor variance applications impacted by the new rural zoning bylaw. Effectively, that includes all files but for 2 in Lindsay and 1 in Bobcaygeon that are subject to their own urban area zoning. There are 3 key points for you to consider at the outset of today's meeting. So first, the rural zoning bylaw did not eliminate the need for any of these applications, so the agenda stands as is. Secondly, staff have drafted for your consideration a second recommendation page with conditions to address reliefs needed to provisions in the new rural zoning bylaw, as well as the standard first recommendation page with conditions to the now former township zoning bylaws that you're familiar with receiving every meeting. In no case did the presence of the new rural zoning bylaw alter the planner's recommendations on the outcomes of the applications and essentially the recommendations that you'll be hearing on each file today. And so, to proceed with today's public hearings, we need to advise you that although our statutory requirements for public notice have been met in accordance with the bylaw regime in place when notice was issued, those notices would not have included references to provisions in the new rural zoning bylaw because, of course, it was not in effect at the time the notice was issued. So regarding notice, there was adequate information and descriptions provided about the nature of the proposals and the accompanying sketches to give the public a reasonable understanding of the purpose of the minor variance applications. Section references to new bylaw provisions are a technicality in these cases, and in my opinion, the committee should feel confident to proceed with all of the applications on today's meeting agenda without delay. However, Mr. Chair, should the committee wish that new notice be issued referencing the new rural zoning bylaw provision sections, staff will oblige and return to a subsequent committee of adjustment meeting thereafter. We remain in your hands, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Director. Are there any questions of Director Barry? Clear as mud? No, thank you, Director. That's with bylaws, I think my experience over the years has been that they can be very unwieldy, and sometimes trying to apply bylaws is a bit like trying to nail jelly to a wall. So, and to the public sitting there, this is a quasi-judicial committee, so we have to operate according to the law. It's not a case of there's a lot of bending and this and that. Even though it's called a committee of adjustment, we still operate under very legal rules. So that's one of the reasons I needed the director to speak today to the committee, because we are dealing with something now that's just recently became law. And so that has to be applied to the applications that we are discussing today, and I'm sure staff will bring that to our attention as we move along. So again, Director, thank you. All right. Are you looking for the committee's a vote or something with respect to moving on?
Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. It would be good to get a motion of committee to proceed if, after voting on whether to proceed or not, to make sure that that is, well, endorsed, number one, or if the direction is to go back and issue new notice and return with the applications to a subsequent meeting. So we would like you to proceed with asking for a motion in that regard, and by doing so, we won't repeat for every application on the agenda the same spiel that you heard from me a moment ago.
All right. Mr. Finn?
Yes, just one question, and I've gone through the material quite quickly just to find one example. A couple of the applications, I believe, have been amended. I'm looking at D20 2026-68, where one of the reliefs has been removed. Is there any need for further notice on those cases where the relief sought has been changed?
Director?
Thank you for the question, and through you, Mr. Chair, quite the contrary, and thank you for raising the question. When it's a case where relief is no longer necessary, it would eliminate the need for notice whatsoever. Thanks.
Thank you.
Just from my end, I'm comfortable with proceeding. Mr. Strangway?
I'll give you a motion to proceed.
All right, please. All right. All right, seconded by Ms. Archer. So the motion would be to proceed as a result of the direction or the consultations with Director Barry. All right. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you. All right. Now I'll go back to my original spiels. For the benefit of everyone sitting here and everyone online, and I'm sure there's a few of those as well, we live stream the meeting on our YouTube channel, and the recording is available after the meeting. Because meetings are accessible to the public in all of these ways, video or audio recording by members of the public is not permitted in the council chambers. This is to ensure that all attendees and those who come to make a deputation feel at ease, and we thank you for your cooperation. The only other thing I would say is there's a sign-in sheet at the back corner there, and if you haven't, perhaps before you go, you could sign in there. That'll just enable us to keep you in the loop with respect to the progress that's made here today. Alrighty. The committee will hear comments, gather information, and may ask questions to clarify statements made. The committee may ask and answer questions or redirect questions to the appropriate person. Please note that any information or comments given to this committee during the meeting, those are considered evidence. We will first hear from staff, then the applicant or his or her agent. We will then hear from any person in support of or from those who have questions, concerns, or are opposed to the application. Finally, the applicant or his or her agent will have an opportunity to respond to any of the statements made to the committee. For the folks that are sitting here, if you wish to speak to your application, please raise your hand and I will ask you to come forward. If you wish to speak in support of the application or are opposed to the application that's before us, please raise your hand and I'll ask you to come up and speak. There is a button on the microphone there and you'll see a red light come on, and that means you're live and we can hear what's going on as you're speaking along. If you're online, we would ask that when you come on the screen, you give us your name, and then we'll proceed from there. We afford everyone 10 minutes to make your presentation. Very few people go 10 minutes, but there's always the odd one that can't fit it all in. So if you find that you've spent your 10 minutes and you've still got a little bit you want to say, then I will ask the committee if they will afford you a couple of more minutes. But very rarely do we get anyone that goes that far. So. All right, having said all that, we will move to, I believe the first application is a deferred application, and this is file number D20-2026-058, and this is 29 Cedardale Drive, Geographic Township of Bexley. Mr. Ghaffari, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So 3.1.129 Cedardale Drive, Bexley. So before going through this application, I just want to note that this application was originally scheduled for the June 25, 2026 Committee of Adjustment meeting, but the proposal was not advertised with the correct information at the time. As a result, the application was then deferred for 1 month to provide staff with time to re-advertise the application with the correct information. So the application has been advertised correctly this month and is now being presented. So the subject property, municipally addressed as 29 Cedardale Drive, is situated in the geographic township of Bexley and is accessed from Cedardale Drive. The subject property currently does not contain any structure. There was one existing single detached dwelling that was constructed in 1950. The application seeks to facilitate the construction of a single detached dwelling. Relief is required from the minimum front yard setback, minimum rear yard setback, and minimum water setback provisions. So the subject property is zoned limited service residential LSR zone and rural residential type 3 RR3 zone under the Township of Bexley zoning bylaw 93-09. The proposed single detached dwelling will be located in the LSR zone portion of the subject property. Section 13.2.1.3.a of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum front yard setback of 7.5 meters. The proposed single detached dwelling has a front yard setback of 5 meters. The intent of the front yard setback is to ensure adequate spatial separation between the built form and the traveled portion of the street, maintain sight lines, and maintain the character of the streetscape. The proposed single detached dwelling will be located in the same general area of the previous single detached dwelling. The property is located at the corner bend of a street that extends outwards on both sides at a right angle and provides a visible and clear view of the street. As a result, there is no impact to sight lines or the flow of traffic. Moreover, as the proposed single detached dwelling has a similar front yard setback to the neighboring properties, it does not impact the character of the streetscape. Section 13.2.1.3.d of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum rear yard setback of 7.5 meters. The proposed single detached dwelling has a rear yard setback of 1.2 meters. The intent of the rear yard setback is to ensure adequate separation between buildings, provide privacy for neighboring properties, provide sufficient outdoor amenity space in the rear yard, and maintain open space for air, light, and access. As the proposed rear yard setback is for a waterfront property, it does not impact spacing between buildings or the neighboring properties in the rear yard. Moreover, since the property is in irregular shape, adequate outdoor space for air, light, access, and amenity use will be mainly preserved on the southeastern portion of the property that is adjacent to the eastern side of the proposed dwelling and also located along the waterfront. Section 13.2.1.3.e of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum water setback of 15 meters. The proposed water setback from the single detached dwelling is 1.2 meters. The intent of the water setback is to provide a buffer between built form and the water to be able to protect built form from natural hazards, protect the ecological state of water bodies, enhance the ecological function of water bodies, and preserve shoreline conditions and vegetation. The proposed single detached dwelling does not introduce built form closer to the shoreline than the previous single detached dwelling and will visually integrate with the surrounding open space and provide a functional connection to the waterfront. Sufficient space for vegetation and drainage is also maintained through compliant lot coverage. As a result, the variance is considered to maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. Comments, in terms of comments were received after the writing of the report from the engineering department, the building and septic division, and the Part 8 sewage system supervisor, indicating that they have no concerns. Furthermore, Kawartha Conservation also indicated that they are in support of the variance and that they would require a permit. Public comments of concern were received from some members of the public regarding the proposal. The proposal and reliefs were communicated to the members and no further communication was received. We appreciate the comments received from neighboring property owners highlighting the legal access to the waterfront via an easement over the subject property. An easement provides those it is in favor of legal access over a property for a specific purpose without them owning the land. This type of water access is common within the City of Kawartha Lakes. The property owner is responsible for ensuring that the area subject to the easement remains unobstructed. The proposed dwelling has a unique shape in order to avoid the area subject to the easement. The existing holding tank is located on the portion subject to the easement. We have consulted with the city solicitor and the supervisor of Part 8 sewage systems, and they both did not have concerns regarding the location of the tank. The building and septic division will require that the cap for the holding tank be protected against damage and to not be accessible to individuals accessing the property. There's also still 5.27 meters between the holding tank and the southern boundary of the property, which provides adequate space for vehicles and pedestrians accessing the water. Sorry. Also, it is important to note that the property as a whole consists of land near the shore and most of Cedardale Drive, as it extends to the northwest and southwest directions. This is confirmed by the whole property being contained within one pin. As a result, based on the extent of the property and the definitions for lot area and lot coverage in the zoning bylaw, the lot coverage for the property was calculated accurately and meets the zoning bylaw requirements. With regards to parking, there will be parking spaces provided for 2 vehicles in the portion of the property to the immediate west of the proposed dwelling. This would meet the parking requirement of the zoning bylaw for the proposed residential use. When considering the matter of property ownership, in the case that an easement exists, it does not diminish the existing of the ownership, but rather that the easement exists alongside the ownership and allows those who benefit from the easement the right to access the designated portion of the property in an unobstructed manner. In terms of the concerns regarding the view, the proposal meets the height requirement of the zoning bylaw and does not require relief for the height. In addition, there's no obligation on the property owner to maintain the view of others on their property. Public comments of support were also received from many members of the public, specifically neighbors, regarding the proposal, including the adjacent neighbor to the south. Staff acknowledges that the application meets all 4 tests of a minor variance and recommends approval of the application subject to the conditions identified.
Thank you, sir. Questions of the planner? Mr. Finn?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Did you or any of the other authorities that had a look at this application consider the setback of 1.2 meters from the water as safe?
Mr. Ghaffari?
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. So yes, this application was reviewed by Building and Septic Division, by the Engineering Division, by the Part 8 Sewage System Supervisor, by ourselves. Planning Division, the KRC also reviewed it, and none of them had concerns regarding that.
Mr. Finn, anything further?
No, thank you.
Anything further from committee? All right, is the applicant here? Do you wish to speak to it, sir? Or ma'am? And your name, please?
Mr. Chairman, members, my name's John Barkey. I'm the applicant. And I just wanted to say that we're in full support of planning's recommendations. I'm here with the owner as well, and if you have any questions, we're available. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Looks like your easy day. All right. Is there anyone here online wishing to speak in support of this application, in support of the application? Anyone here or online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? All right. I saw your hand at the back, sir. Come ahead. Find that button there for your mic. All right. And your name, sir?
Christian Omikos, resident of 7 Lakeview Drive.
All right, go ahead. Your light went out.
Okay, we have considerable issues with this application.
Not your light, the light on the mic.
It's on. So we look at our deed and it says we have 100-foot access on this piece of property here, and it's the holding tank is obstructing it. We can't use our access. We can't put a boat down there, back a trailer up. It's consistently obstructed by the owner with vehicles. I'm going to speak to the fact that about the parking. They're always parking on the road. It's a bit of a disaster. We've had quite a bit of issues with the contractor. His vehicles are all over the place. He's created quite an eyesore. There's been quite a bit of issues with compliance, as we understand. I can't even take our kid down there for the past year. Our access has been obstructed for about 7 years now since we've lived there. We're constantly harassed by the committee members down there. We believe our access is being violated many times over. The shoreline is deteriorating. If you take a look down there, you'll see it needs remediation. I would also like more information regarding what took place with the building that was there, why it got torn down, and specifics on the compliance issues. We'd also like to know where the well's going to be. It doesn't seem like you can put a well there adequately. Another issue that I spoke on was the holding tank. We'd like that removed, and we'd like this whole site remediated as soon as possible. The applicant here is obstructing our right-of-way. We haven't been able to use it for 7 years. Prior, her father owned it for 20-some-odd years. It's been nothing but problems down here with this committee in this neighborhood. There's been a lot of rhetorical bylaw complaints with neighbors. They've been misusing the system that we have here out of revenge. The applicant has, from what I understand, has been party to that as well. I have big concerns with the drainage on this site. It's downstream from a road that goes uphill and then downhill to that lot. We have big issues with draining in that area, flooding. It's on a watershed. Residents are consistently flooded out. There's some residents that dispose of their water onto the access, and it's caused quite a bit of issues. That is a more concerning issue than building this here. We certainly have a lot of issues with the ongoing partying. We hear complaints from neighbors all the time with excessive drinking and smoking of weed. I got a couple more points here. I'm just trying to look. Also like to know where the heating system is going to be. And if it complies, what type of heating system is it going to be? I'm a licensed gas fitter who's done countless installations in the area and compliance inspections, so I really want to know what's going on there. I feel the two-story building is going to obstruct the view and is going to cause quite a bit of issues. This blight, that is a construction site, doesn't have adequate fencing, and we have several properties that have not sold in the area. They've been listed for an extended amount of time, and some of them have been devalued by several $100,000, and we're confident that it's because of this disaster here, this hole that's sitting there. There's also another, from what we understand, there's another resident that had a similar issue just up the road, and their access got taken over, and they had to sell their property for several $100,000 less than what they should have got. We have concerns that if there is any issues, like we've seen on our road, on Lakeview Cottage Road and other roads, the onus is going to be put on us, and there's going to be quite a bit of legal fees that we will have to manage. And far more than we would like to afford. It's going to cause us a lot of issues, being a young family. We also have an issue. Who do we contact if we do have an issue? Our council member doesn't get back to anybody. He has a reputation for that. I saw him this morning. He was on our road. I'm not sure why he wasn't here today to answer to some of these questions or to put his comments in. We've been trying to get a hold of the planning department now for several months. Haven't got a reply back. So we have a lot of worries. We're very worried about our property value dropping significantly. We have one of the larger properties on this in this neighborhood here. It's caused nothing but stress for a lot of our neighbors. It's been an ongoing issue with water access. It's always the talk of conversation. It's never how's the weather. It's never nothing pleasant. It's always issues with the access there. And we are confident this building is obstructing it. We have countless pictures, so do some neighbors. Countless times that access has been obstructed. They did so while they were building too. We are not confident that this builder has the capacity to build this properly and within the regulations. Again, I'd like to know what happened with that building in the first place. I don't think they're the right contractor for the job. If this does go forward, we certainly do plan litigation. We've talked to several lawyers, some that do have experience suing the City of Kawartha Lakes. So we certainly will be going forward with that without missing a heartbeat. And we'll be naming the landowner here. We're sick and tired of this. We're sick and tired of what's been going on with this community and this issue here. We deserve to use our access. We're a young family. We have a young daughter. We've been harassed countless times every time we went down there. Same as my father-in-law, who's a trustee in the area for 20 some odd years. He took our granddaughter there and they've harassed her. This is his first time taking his granddaughter there to have a good time. And that has been echoed several times over from neighbors that are drunk. There's quite a bit of drinking, it seems.
Yeah, I want to stick with the merits of the case, sir. We're not going to get into personalities or what people do or don't do, so.
Fair enough.
Before I go to committee, you mentioned a committee. What did you, is there some kind of a committee there that you're dealing with, or?
Sorry, it's an association, the Cottage Lakes Association. They've actually put a gate on this dock that they've built in front of our property here. Our property has permanent docking privileges at Lakeview Cottage Drive. A lot of those houses along there have water access, and they've completely abused that. We're going to be asking for that dock to completely be removed. We would like to know specifically how many people have access to that parcel of land. There's a lot of neighbors that are confused if they have access or not regarding that parcel of land. We're not confident that this can be built without causing significant issues in the area. So we'd ask that your committee take the evidence that I've provided and that our neighbors will provide and decline this. Thank you so much for your time. I'd just like to review my notes one more time to just see if...
Yeah, don't go away. Maybe, I'm going to, Mr. Kafari, you heard the comments from the gentleman. Do you have any response?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the public member for bringing up his concerns. I believe I covered a lot of the different points that were mentioned during my presentation, but I will mention some of the things that I do remember here. So there, in terms of the space between the tank and the edge of the property, there will still be 5.27 meters of space, which would provide enough space for access for pedestrian and vehicle access. And then other obstructions such as cars, that would be a civil matter as it's a private easement. And then in terms of the dwelling itself, there was previously a dwelling, so based on comments we received from our city solicitor, Robin Carlson, I believe there was another structure existing on the property since the 1950s. And this structure that is proposed will maintain the setbacks. So the difference here is that this one will be a two-story structure. But the thing here is also that the height it meets the height requirement, so it doesn't need relief for the height requirement from the zoning bylaw. So at this point, we're mainly here for reliefs from the setbacks that were also the same as the previous structure. And I believe some of the other points that were mentioned I have already addressed during my presentation. And if there's anything else that the applicant or the property owner can answer, that could be deferred to them.
No, thank you for that. Are there any questions of the deputy from committee? Ms. Art.
Through you, please, to the deputant. Could you tell me on this photo where you access the water? Is it showing there where your access point is?
Was it for me to answer, sorry? Typically, we use the right side, but we can't use it. You can't drive over there. There's a holding tank. We've spoken to. Sorry. Typically, it's on the right side, but our deed talks about 100-foot access. So that structure looks like it's on there. We can't put a boat down there to launch. We can't park a vehicle on there. There's a holding tank. We've spoken to septic installers, licensed septic installers that are been installing systems for generations, and they've commented on the location. They've commented on the well, and it doesn't meet any of the requirements. We're not here to argue about little things. If this goes ahead, we're going to be putting a lawsuit forward. We're going to let our lawyers handle it.
No,
we're sick and tired
you
of taking, this has been stressing us out for quite a bit of time. We're sick of this. We're not going to be constantly speaking on this. We're just going to get a lawyer and he's going to deal with it.
Just one point, sir. You mentioned there had been flooding on the property. What's the nature of the flooding? And was it caused by the lake or other things?
No,
We're downhill from a farm, and there isn't adequate ditching on Lakeview Cottage Drive where the residences are. So that causes an issue. Where there is a ditch, it's not maintained. The road is actually a ditch. The road gets washed out constantly on Lakeview Cottage Drive. The water can't go into the ditch that is there. It's not maintained. And then on Balsam Lake Drive, a significant amount of water enters from the house on, it's Irina Fredova's lot, and it goes through ours. There's a watershed that goes, that is subject to the Conservation Authority that goes through our properties and many of these cottages. On Cedardale Drive, there's no ditching whatsoever. One of the neighbors has had such issues that they've had to install a big O from their basement for the sump pump, and it goes onto the road and it washes out this access. We need a ditch on this road before we need anything. We need proper drainage. To me, that's been one of the core things I keep bringing up with neighbors.
Just wanted to interrupt you. I was more concerned with whether there's any flooding from the lake itself, rather than ditching and flowing off the roadways.
We actually have a significant amount of damage to our foundation over flooding issues in this area. The property beside us had to get rebuilt and raised up, and they had to put a new foundation for, due to the water issues.
But the committee member's asking, is because of the lake that you're getting the flooding, or what's causing the flooding?
Sorry, there's a watershed in the area. If you look at a different plan, you'll see a hashed out mark. It goes through our property, and it goes through other properties as well. And it's just a natural watershed. A lot of people have put septics in the way and stuff like that. There needs to be a proper engineer in there to put some proper ditches on both sides to prevent a catastrophe.
All right, thank you. Mr. Finn?
That's fine, thank you.
Is Cedardale Drive a private road, or is it a municipal road?
From what I understand, Cedardale Drive is a private road.
Mr. Ghaffari, is
Lakeview Cottage Road, the one, we're on both roads. We're on Cedardale and Lakeview Cottage Road. Our property runs through them.
are they both private roads, or is there one municipal?
Yes, Lakeview Cottage Road is municipal.
Mr. Ghaffari?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So Cedardale Drive is a private road that is owned by the property owner of 29 Cedardale Drive.
Again, those are civil issues with a private road, so we can't really help you with that one.
See, that's the issue. The onus seems to be continuously put on us. There's a civil matter, it's this and that just does nothing but cost us a great deal of money. It seems to be an excuse. We feel if this property goes up, it's going to cause a significant amount of civil issues and time and resources, and we feel it's going to cause you quite a bit of money from what I've understood, from what the lawyers told us. So we'd like to avoid that.
Further of the deputy? All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate this this avenue. It's
right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I saw another hand there, did I not? Yes, ma'am. Do you wish to come forward?
Will my presentation be shared on the screen, or was it only handed out to the committee?
Your name is?
My name is Christine Bauer. I'm
Okay.
at 14 Cedardale, and I've been a resident of this community for 45 years.
All right, go ahead.
Okay? I'm going to walk you through, sorry. This is a little bit awkward. I'm going to walk you through a quick presentation, but first and foremost, I'd like to thank the committee for allowing us to speak today. I represent a number of community members. We have consolidated our concerns, and they are within this presentation. I'll try to keep it short, and I will talk quickly, but I'll open that up. So the first slide, please, if you would. Thank you. All right. These are very, very small maps, but there is a copy that the committee has. Okay. It's very, very important that these are historic maps, and these historic maps set the intention of what is done here. This is a subdivision plan. There are two subdivision plans that we're speaking to. One is Plan 162, which is the one on the right-hand side. Plan 170 is where Part Lot 15 is, which belongs to the applicant. So it's really important to note here that the road allowances as designed and intended in the plan are on Plan 162, and they are comprised of A, B, and C. And A, B, and C are those road allowances. Block B takes it from Balsam Lake Drive all the way to the lakefront. And all of those road allowances designed in the day were 30 feet wide, consistently 30 feet wide, allowing everyone that you can see would have been landlocked to have access to their properties, whether that be on Cedardale or on Lakeview Cottage Road. It allowed them to have access to their properties, but in those deeds as well, all of those historic deeds, I did significant research through land conveyance. All of those members have, or residents, sorry, have access, deeded access rights across these properties. As Christian mentioned, Lakeview Cottage Road has been assumed by the municipality. Block A and Block B continue to be a private road held by the applicant and merged with part lot 15 that's shown there as the blue triangle on both of those historic surveys. And then the next slide, if you would, please. The next slide just emphasizes as well that these historic surveys have been done not just in 1923, 103 years old, but continue on, and those survey records have been maintained. That Block B, which is the one that's most in contention today, has been maintained at a 30-foot access, again, from Balsam Lake Drive to the shores of the lake for everyone to access, further to the point being made earlier. And all of those surveys do reflect this. So this is another one that just provides additional clarity for everybody to understand about the accesses that we have. These are legal accesses. If we can go to the next slide. So this one I think you're all very well familiar with. And this is the one that causes the most grief and concern. And it's because it's what I call a job aid. And it does outline the property that is technically owned by the applicant. But as you can see, those two pieces of the property which are significant, Block A and Block B, are road allowances and should in no way ever be factored into the requirements and the calculations for any type of building upon Part Lot 15. Part Lot 15, if you recall, is a very, very small triangle. The proportions of that have not been shared with us, but we do know that Block A and Block B are in excess of about 30,000 square feet. And I think the planner had noted that it was about 41,000 and change square feet. I don't believe Part Lot 15 is even 11,000 square feet. My lot it's a 50 by 250, and my lot is about 12,000 square feet. And this lot is nowhere near the size of that lot. I do have some notes that maybe the committee does not have within theirs. I did a subsequent update yesterday that was not accepted and sent out to the group. What's happened here, it took us a lot of trying to figure out the puzzle. What's happened here is Part Lot 15 has been artificially merged with those roadways for calculations and dimensions, and they should be remaining separate and distinct. They are, even though they are on one pin under land registry, they serve completely different purposes. The zoning of RR is a catch-all for these properties and does no way reflect the usage of these lands. Block A and Block B are absolute roadways with right-of-way access for a number of citizens. And let me go into that now. If you can remember back to that first survey document, it showed residents on both Cedardale and Lakeview Cottage Road, and there's also some on Balsam Lake Drive that we've researched through land conveyance. We have 9 non-waterfront and 12 waterfront properties on Cedardale that have their right-of-ways, 30-foot right-of-ways down those properties. We have 11 non-waterfront Lakeview Cottage Road properties and 6 Balsam Lake Drive And there are potentially more on Balsam Lake Drive. We had to draw the line somewhere. We got to about 26 plus of backlot neighbors that were designed to have proper access through this road allowance, right-of-way, easement, right of access, whatever you want to call it in terms of the terminology. The effect to the neighbors is the same and the residents is the same. It is a 30-foot access that needs to be maintained for all of the residents unobstructed, as was mentioned. And again, the intention of that survey was to provide that and all the way through history. So we go to the next slide, if you would, please. We just covered all of that. If you wouldn't mind doing the next one. My apologies. Okay, so it's really important for some people to understand that a right-of-way has dominant and servient ownership. And unfortunately, in this area, the title of ownership has really gone awry because it's been referred to as I own it, I can do what I want. That is not the case legally. The case legally is that is a servient property with 26, actually 30 plus dominant, but 26 that would actively use this right of way. So it's very important that that be noted, that the legal rights are quite clear of all of these deeded access holder residents. Okay, go to the next one, please. Okay, so if we can, now that we've kind of established the lot lines and where we are, we need to talk about what the issues are. I will overlap with some of the issues mentioned earlier. First and foremost, it is a very small triangular lot, lot 50.
Excuse me, ma'am, you got about 2 minutes, so if you would.
Okay, well, I'm speaking on behalf of 8 people, if you would, please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a very small triangular lot. The setbacks and minor variances would not be considered minor. 8 feet to 45 feet in our residents' opinion would not be considered minor. And then the size of the proposed build. Due to that, like I said, there's a merger glitch within a loophole, if you will, to have that part lot 15 merged with the roadways to artificially inflate the size of that property for development purposes. Okay, so I'll carry on with that. As we've talked about, Block A and B are active road allowances, and that is the de facto road statuses. You do have those in your presentation. I'm going to skip a little bit further ahead. We have addressed the fact that those properties should not be merged for calculations. If you could skip ahead to slide 11, if you would, just to expedite the presentation. Thank you so much. Okay. So building to lot ratios and then the issues with part lot. We're on a different slide. If you go to the next one. So the issues that we see as well are the illegal holding tank. So that holding tank was installed illegally. It is directly and has been confirmed that it is in the right of way and completely blocks access to the water. It's not about going around it. If that holding tank was installed anywhere else along Block B, it would be considered an obstruction. It is an obstruction to the waterfront for the residents. And that is tied in with the variances that the committee is hearing today. So there's an illegal holding tank, there's the parking issues that have been mentioned, there's the merger of this information that puts the lot to building sizes completely out of whack for this property. We think that this application should be denied or at least deferred. And the community impacts are that we are very concerned about further encroachment. As previously communicated, our collective access to the shores of Balsam Lake is blocked. Allowing a new residential build will just allow for decks and gazebos and more to be added to the property and to continue that expansion because those aren't within the purview of the city of Kawartha Lakes. We have reduced usability and enjoyment as a group. We have financial impacts to our property values. We have the extraordinary variances, no parking facilities at this property. We'd like to know where those are presented. We have the illegal holding tank. So I'd like to share the pictures with you, some pictures that we have.
Okay, you've got a couple more minutes and I'm gonna cut you off, ma'am, so.
Okay, so our typical obstructions are this: vehicles, we have a floating accommodation as well within that right-of-way, vehicles, and we have an illegal holding tank there. There is no road. The road that you're seeing here is only about 10 feet of gravel. It is a 30-foot wide road access and road allowance that should be taken into consideration. Can you do the next slide, please? Okay, so this is our view of the holding tank with a table on it, people party on it. This is a holding tank that would be very, very concerning if it erupted into the lake. It's very close proximity to the waterfront. It is, being a holding tank, it's a hollow structure. It can't support the weight, and it can't support vehicles traveling beside it either. So that is something that should be immediately removed, given the building is down, and infrastructure should not be placed on this right-of-way to support any building on part lot 15. Next slide. Okay, there's the view from the lake. You can see the holding tank is significant. As I said, if this holding tank were placed anywhere along Block B, it would be considered a significant obstruction and definitely not allowed. It should not be allowed in the placement that it is in this photo either. Okay, lastly, we can go to our recommendations of denying or deferring. We want to make sure that we have, first of all, true legal ownership of these roadways. These roadways have flipped ownership every so many years, and the only thing that is happening here is there's a technical loophole because a part lot merges when they were assigned to another lot, when they were titled or registered to another lot. It was a full lot, and they were not merged for any type of calculation purposes. So that is just a mere zoning and land registry loophole. We'd like conservation more actively involved because we do have concerns that is in the watershed as well as that tank. We would like survey transparency, a full survey of blocks A, B, and this property so that we can maintain our proper right-of-way and the resident applicant can maintain harmony on her property. We would like to have more information on the parking because this lot, part lot 15, has no room for a building and parking. The previous building took up the entire space of that lot. We want all obstructions moved from Block B that prevent our access. Any questions?
Thank you. First of all, Mr. Ghaffari, do you have any response? I realize that the deputy covered a fair bit of territory there, but you can stay up there, ma'am. There may be questions of you.
I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the deputy for that information. To start off, I believe I covered quite a bit of that information in my presentation, but thanks again. So I'll start off by saying that this minor variance application was reviewed by quite a few divisions, internal and external staff. It was reviewed by the engineering division, by the building and septic division, by the Part 8 sewage systems supervisor. It was also reviewed by our external partners, the KRCA. So it was reviewed quite extensively, and none of those divisions or internal or external had any issues, so no concerns. From a planning lens, we've also taken a look at it. The reliefs that are required, we've brought to committee today. And just to kind of take it from the top, the property 29 Cedardale Drive, along with the portions of the road, are owned legally by the property owner. The easement gives a right of access to those who it is benefiting. The property is still owned by the property owner. In terms of lot coverage and lot area calculations, based on the zoning bylaw definitions, they have been calculated correctly. In terms of the parking, as I stated in my presentation as well, will be provided to the west of the development of the proposal, and the requirement for the 2 parking spaces will be provided. In terms of the easement itself, it should be unobstructed, and I've also spoken to the applicant about this, and they stated that they will leave it unobstructed. In terms of any matters relating to flooding or environmental concerns, those would be directed to the KRCA, and as I said, the KRCA has stated that there are no concerns with the application. And I think that pretty much covers it. If there's anything else, I'd be happy to take a look and respond.
Great, thank you. Any questions of the deputy? Yes, Mr. Strang.
I'm not so assurance of the deputant, but of our staff. With this being an easement, I know there are very definite regulations what you can and can't put on an easement, and there appears to be an obstruction there. I'm also wondering how recently was the holding tank put in? Were all the permits in place for that? Maybe if you could give me a little more information on what you're seeing as a possible obstruction there and the regulations around what you can put on an easement as far as, you know, this type of structure being a septic holding tank.
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you to the committee member. So in terms of the holding tank, it was reviewed by the Part 8 sewage system supervisor, Ann Elmhurst. Currently, they're going through a septic application. Through the circulation, there were no concerns. It was mentioned that the holding cap would be made to not be accessible to those accessing the property. And so in terms of the location itself, we were told that by the Part 8 sewage system supervisor that there were no concerns. Our city solicitor, Robin Carlson, also had no concerns. And it's currently being reviewed further through the septic division.
Yeah, I'm still looking for an answer on what are the regulations around what you can put on an easement with respect to septic systems and so on. My understanding from previous days is that, you know, you had to keep those easements certainly free of buildings, obstructions, that type of thing. And I'm wondering where a septic system comes into that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, thanks again for the question. So from a planning perspective, we've taken care of things that may be of concern. This, in terms of the septic system itself, I believe this falls into the realm of the building septic division or the Part 8 sewage system supervisor. Based on their review and the comments that they've made, that they shared that there are no concerns, based on their word and their review, we have taken that, and in light of that, we present this application today.
Thank you. Actually, Mr. Ghaffari, you're doing a fine job there, but as a supervisor of development services, do you wish to say anything with respect to the question that was asked there, Ms. Evans?
Through the chair, I don't have anything to add. I'm just wondering if perhaps the Director of Development Services would like to speak to it, have the opportunity.
Director?
Thanks for the question. If you don't mind, Mr. Chair, I'm just going to ask for a moment of the committee's time to review a note. Thank you.
Just for the benefit of the members that are here and the members that are online, this committee sits here to make not just decisions, but informed decisions. So sometimes we have to take little breaks to make sure we're on track with this sort of thing. And sometimes there's conversations between the staff members and the director. So please bear with us, but we want to make, as I say, an informed decision, not just a decision. So thank you for your patience.
While we're waiting for that reply, could somebody tell me why we were given this picture? We didn't get anything else supporting or defending, but we did get this. What was the point of this picture, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that was just a supplemental image provided by one of the neighboring property owners. This shows the historical use that existed on the property.
This is someone against this application?
No, this is someone in support of the application.
Support?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Finn.
Just while we're having a break, I just noticed, and this is for the planner, Appendix C, the bottom diagram, at the water's edge, it refers to a wood retaining wall. Does that wood retaining wall extend all the way along the property? I'm thinking of the rear of the residence, which is only 1.2 meters away.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the committee member, would you be able to reference the appendix once again?
Appendix C. You have the pictures were up on the screen.
It looks like the director's ready, so I'm going to ask to hold on that. Yeah, go ahead, Director Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
To make sure that the committee has maybe all the current information possible in front of them, I would make a suggestion to Mr. Chair to invite the owner or the applicant working with the owner to comment on, to the extent possible, their current application to a building permit application related to the sewage system design. It could contribute to the conversation in a productive way.
Yeah, no, I agree. In fact, we'll have them speak once we're through the, there may be other deputies with respect to it, so. All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time. Is there anyone else here that wishes to speak to this application? You've had your turn, sir. Do I still have time left? Pardon? Do I still have time left? You haven't answered something. No, it doesn't work that way. I think we beat this up pretty good. So is there anyone else that wishes to speak online or here, wishes to speak in support of or in opposition to this application? All right. Did you feel you could clarify some issue for us, or are you just adding on to what you already said? No, I'd like that issue clarified, but hasn't been answered yet. All right, I'll give you a couple of minutes. But it's got to be a clarification. I don't want to hear any more statements.
Yep, it'll be quick. I'd like to ask the committee to speak on the location of the well. From what I understand, it's supposed to be 50 feet away from a holding tank or septic system. And my research shows in your own writing, the Kawartha Lakes, that you're not allowed to put a septic system or holding tank on an easement.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Ghaffari.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I will defer that question to the applicant. They may have more information on the well that was mentioned.
All right, well, hold that. We will get I'll have the applicant speak to, respond to what's been said, so.
Lastly, I'd just like to say, I don't think the departments that have no issues with this application have done enough research. There's quite a bit of points that we've brought up that you don't have answers to. I'm not confident that due diligence has been done, and I think you may find that you're in way over your head, and you may be way over your head legally. I don't think this is worth approving. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. No, ma'am, you had more than sufficient time, thank you. Okay, you wish to speak to it? She can speak for me. I think she spoke for about 12 over there now. She said 8, but she went on for a bit. Is there something you wish to clarify? I don't want any more statements about it, but can you clarify an issue for us?
Well, I can clarify a couple of things. One is that this applicant does not have full title to these roadways. These roadways have flipped hands many times, and the title to this property of the roadways is currently in land registry. It has not turned over to land titles, and it requires title absolute before anything can even be constructed on these properties or considered. And these are not buildable lands. The road allowances are not buildable properties, and nor should they be amalgamated or taken into consideration as buildable properties. I think that those are completely erroneous in this case.
All right, and thank you for that. And you've heard the comments there. I think the lady made some good points there, but you were telling us that the agencies that looked at this are content?
To you, Mr. Chair, yes, as mentioned previously, various internal and external agencies have taken a look at this, and no concerns were brought up. As stated before as well, the property owner has ownership, based on our information, ownership of the portion of the property near the shore and also the road that extends both ways.
All right, the owner or the gentleman?
I guess
All right, hang on a minute. Did I see another hand back there? Yeah. All right, are you speaking in opposition or support? Opposition or support. All right, have a seat. We have another person that. If you can find the button there, sir, for your red light. And your name is?
Terry Everson.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been there since 1981. I'm at 711 Balsam Lake Drive. Now my family, my wife's family, are the Tripps. Now they had these people's home before. Linda and Bernie are my next door neighbor. We've been turned around and sent home. Stay off the property. Now, years ago, the Tripps, my wife's family, that used to be a pump house where they tore down. Now, if you want to know, I think what happened, the ice came, took the front end of that house off, the pump house. That's all it was. Because you used to pump water down to their place, right? So where that, I fought this 2 or 3 times at lawyers. And I said to them, the lawyer said, if they haven't got room for you, tell them to take the holding tank. Now I go to different places that got deeded access and locked in, and they have spots and they all go, there's 6 or 7 docks fed out by one dock. And that's the way it should be down there. And then we've bid money on the land for the roads and everything else. But this is just foolish. Now, where you were asking about that was at the front of the dock, or the holding tank and that? Now, I'm around 80% sure it was rails and that, railroad ties. So has that got tar on it? But it's not now. I think they covered it up with wood. So I can't blame these new people. They should have, Brian Hart's owned it, and I went and fought this for 2 lawyers. Many years. And I thought I was on a baseball team. You're on first, you're on second. And then they're renting the spots out, people down the road around 14 houses. Why not give everybody their own spot? Well, none of these people would have bought these houses because you were deeded to Balsam Lake. And it says on our deeds, boating, swimming, fishing, and any other activity. Where Al and Martha, that's where Doug and Sharon was, they were parked in the far end where they framed all of that in. That thing out far, whatever, Block A or Block B, was put in there to protect the boats when Hurricane Hazel went through. My family was there White's family was there for 200 years. Why not just let them have what they want? Build us a dock where these other 10 people got dock, build it out straight so we all have a dock. And I don't think there's anybody here that's going to have a problem putting money on their damn roads. They don't even, there's a guy where Doug and them were, he had a stroke. He went down with his 4-wheeler and they told him to get off because there was no room for parking.
All right, sir, I've afforded everyone a fair bit of latitude here, but I wanted to, and I've let everyone move around a bit with this, but at the end of the day, we have to speak to the merits of the case. So do you have anything further to say with respect to the variances that we're talking about here?
Yeah, I said, no, I think we're just fighting a lost battle. That's what I think. I think the city of Kawartha Lakes should take them all over. Get rid of all this deeded access now.
We can't.
And how do you say it's private when the garbage trucks go down there?
Well, that happens all over the place. They're going on private roads, so that's not an anomaly. Are there any questions of the deputy?
All right, I'm done.
All right, thank you, sir. Before I go to the applicant, is there anyone else that wishes to speak? All right, could you two come forward then? And all right, not sure where to start because you've heard quite a bit of information. But is there anything you wish to say in response to all of this?
Yep, we'll start with the well. There is no well. It's a lake feed. With regards to the waterfront, yes, there's on the survey, which was done by Co-Fisher Cameron recently, it shows the wood retaining wall, but there's also a concrete break wall in the 1.2 meters, that whole front of the building, which sits in the exact same footprint as the previous building. The reason why The other building came down was because it was found to be encroaching on the neighbor's property. So we were told by the building department, and planning, the choices were to cut it back, move it, or tear it down. All three options required this variance. With regards to the presentation of the land itself, I think what we're proposing is going to make it look a lot better. It's going to be cleaner, clean up the waterfront. And with regards to the easement is from the red line, the bottom of the structure, all the way down to the other line below that hedgerow. That's 9 meters. And as you said, between the septic tank and that line was it 5.27 or 5.27 meters, which is wider than the actual road that comes down there. And with regards to access, that's exactly what it's called, access. It doesn't say unobstructed access, it's just access. It's in the deed, which I have right here. It says access. So maybe somebody should define the word access to us. There's nothing obstructing that now, it never has been, other than a vehicle, maybe, but it's not blocking the access. Anything else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And again, the survey was done recently, which shows Block A and B as part of this property.
Right, Ms. Sayre, did you wish to say anything further?
Previous to me purchasing this, not 7 years ago, but less than 2 years ago, I owned 16 Cedardale Drive and purchased this property privately off the owners. 16 Cedardale Drive had access to the road. I was allowed the access to the road to get down. I owned 9 people own part of the dock, which is the access to, which at the end to go onto the dock, it is maybe 3 feet wide. So it has just been, for the Dock People Association, it has only been a walkway as it teeters down to even get on the docks. Yes, there has been vehicles parked there, but no access has been blocked by either the septic or vehicles. There's four-wheelers that come down all the time when they're fixing the docks, when they carry their gas tanks, everything. And I was a part of that for 7 years as well. And I never had a problem getting down there, and nothing has changed except for the ownership.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions of the owner? Mr. Strangway?
Thanks again. Just another question with regard to the septic. I see now, I was on the understanding maybe it was a holding tank. It is clearly marked as the septic tank. Where's the
It is a holding tank.
Oh, it is a holding tank?
Yes.
So there's no weeping bed?
No.
Okay. And is there something on top of that holding tank right now?
No, it's exposed concrete. I think it goes down to bedrock. That's as deep as it can get.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further in the owner? All right, thank you. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
All right. All right. We've got everyone that wanted to speak. Was there anyone online that wishes to speak to this? All right, being none. All righty. Committee, where are we? And before I do that, I want to thank everyone that participated in this. We can't make decisions without getting a hearing from everyone, and certainly we've heard that today. So we thank you again for you taking the time and your participation. So, committee, where are we? Mr. Finn.
As recommended by staff.
All righty. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Strangway?
I have a question before I can.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. I seem to be harping on this, but I'm having a problem with the fact that the holding tank is on the easement, and I was on the understanding that you couldn't put things such as holding tanks on easements. And I think that's a critical issue in my mind. I'd like to know whether that tank is there legally, properly, or whether there's an issue there.
Thank you. Who wants to deal with that?
Why don't I take that?
Director?
Yeah, I think this might circle back to the question that was posed earlier, and based on the, from what the information is that we've been given, that has been commissioned to be valid through the application process, regarding the age of the existing holding tank, the length of time that the easement has been in place, that tank has status to allow it to remain in place. So we can refer to that as non-complying. Regardless, it did go through a legal review, and that's why we're comfortable putting this recommendation in front of the committee, simply for the fact of its age and that it can be replaced too, which is part of the permit process that's ongoing that I mentioned earlier to replace the holding tank. Hopefully that addresses the question.
Thank you, Director. I appreciate that clarification. Anything further, Mrs. Strangway?
As far as easements, does this become a civil matter if people don't feel that they have their proper access to the lake? And whose jurisdiction does this fall under?
Sure, I'll touch on that again, and to underscore the planner's comments from earlier, it is exclusively a civil issue. It is outside of the scope of the zoning bylaw and the parameters around the decision that the committee makes today based on the relief that's being sought. So in fact, the majority of the issues that have been raised are, in my opinion, civil issues, and there's been some reference to discussions with lawyers. We actually encourage the property owners or the residents with those concerns to follow up with their lawyer regarding their access, that it remain unfettered. It isn't fettered based on where the location of that holding tank has been and will continue to be. And this is often the venue where the committee members hear all sorts of concerns, and fair enough, because it is a public arena and a public process, and it is an independent process. Other avenues for concerns like to discuss civil issues or like to discuss property enforcement matters, things like that. They don't have a similar committee structure for residents to come forward and voice their concerns in this type of way. So you do get that type of exposure to all of the concerns, regardless of whether they are in scope to the application or not.
Thank you, Director, for that. One further question. After this committee makes a decision, what appeal process do people have if they're unhappy with the decision made by this committee?
Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Although no doubt the planner is well-versed in covering this, there have been changes to the Planning Act in the last number of years that limit the appeal rates on third-party appeals. So unless a party is specifically described as a specified person in the Planning Act, they do not have third parties, neighbors, for example, an opportunity to appeal a decision of the committee. It is limited to the owner and to, as I say, the specified parties in the Planning Act, which predominantly are utility companies, conservation authorities, ministries of the provincial government, as examples.
Thank you.
All right, I've got a mover. Do I have a seconder? Do I have a, I will second it for, as the chair, I can second, so I'll second it for discussion. Do you wish to speak to it, Mr. Finn?
I don't think I should add too much. We've heard a lot about civil problems, but as far as the actual application is concerned and the variances that are being requested, I've been satisfied by the comments we've heard from the planners and others around the table. Thank you.
Well, and that's where I am as well. As much as I hear the folks and I feel for them, we've got a planner that tells us it meets the four tests. I think the director has been, thank you, Director. I appreciate clarified with respect to appeal situations in this. I don't know that we've got anywhere to go. It's already been deferred once, so deferring it again isn't going to help, in my humble opinion. So I'm suggesting that that we proceed with it, and it goes where it goes, I guess, because. But you had your chance to speak. Please. I do care. Follow the law. Follow your own words. Okay. All right. That does not help anyone's situation, believe me. Not one of you does it help. All right. I'm going to ask now for, I've said my piece. Mr. Finn said his piece, so where are we? I'm going to ask for a recorded vote. Mr. Finn?
In favor.
I'm in favor. Archer?
In favor.
Mr. Strangway?
In favor.
The motion carries. Your application is approved. And I'd like to take the time on behalf of the committee to apologize to the folks here for that, the latest disruption from the gentleman, but it does become heated here sometimes, and we just have to kind of go with the flow. So thank you again. All right. We're dealing with file number D20-2026-065, and this is 99 St. Patrick Street, former town of Lindsay. Mr. Okawik, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property is situated within a residential community within the former town of Lindsay with access from St. Patrick Street. The original dwelling, which was recently demolished, was built in 1925 based on data from the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, or MPAC for short. The purpose of this proposal is to facilitate the demolition of the existing dwelling and the construction of a new larger dwelling partially on the same footprint. Relief is required from the front yard setback and interior side yard setback. The property is zoned Residential 1 under the Town of Lindsay zoning bylaw. The R1 zone permits a single detached dwelling and accessory structures. The zoning bylaw requires a front yard setback of 7.5 meters. The proposed front yard setback is 0.73 meters. The proposed dwelling will not encroach further into the front yard setback than what was originally existed with the recently demolished dwelling. Furthermore, the proposed development is not anticipated to create any visibility-related issues, and adequate open space on the south side will be maintained. The zoning bylaw also requires an interior side yard setback of 1.25 meters. The proposed interior side yard setback is 0.15 meters from the north lot line. The proposed additions extend inward toward the center of the lot rather than toward the boundaries. As a result, the existing interior side yard setbacks will not change, and the project will not encroach any closer to the neighboring properties than what already existed previously. Finally, no privacy concerns are anticipated, as the new dwelling will partially occupy the same footprint that the original house was located in. Comments were received after the writing of the report from the engineering department and the building division, indicating that they have no concerns. Staff acknowledges the application meets all 4 tests of a minor variance and respectfully recommends approval of the application, subject to the conditions identified. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Are there questions to the planner? Ms. Archer?
Through you, please, to the planner. I get it that we're using basically the same footprint, especially on the interior side yard. Is there no way we can improve upon that? I mean, 6 inches, you can't even put your foot on there while you're on the other person's property.
Through the chair, I understand some of the concerns might be that they wouldn't be able to technically go past that, but there's ample space towards the south lot line where they can go through that because it still meets the interior side yard setback from that side. The existing foundation has already been there, so from a planning perspective, I do find it to be a minor change and not necessarily one that we would really need to require them to come further in.
Further questions to the planner? All right, thank you. Is the applicant here or online? Does the applicant wish to speak to the application? Is there anyone here or online wishing to speak in support of the application? In support of the application? Anyone here or online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Opposition to the application? I'm advised none. Committee, where are we? Wayne.
As recommended by staff.
Are there any comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you. All right, wherever you are, your application is approved. All right, we're dealing with file number D20-2026-066. This is 216 Main Street, former village of Bobcaygeon. Ms. Coughlin, go ahead.
Thank you. The subject property is designated urban settlement area under the City of Kawartha Lakes official plan and Central Business District under the Bobcaygeon secondary plan. The property is zoned urban residential type 1 zone under the Village of Bobcaygeon zoning bylaw 1678. The subject property is surrounded by mainly residential uses. The property contains a shed in the rear yard and a single detached dwelling, which is currently under construction. The purpose of the application is to recognize the existing staircase in the front yard. Relief is needed from Section 5.1C of the zoning bylaw, which requires a minimum front yard setback of 7.5 meters. The existing setback is 5.6 meters. These photos show the location of the existing staircase. The front yard setback provides sufficient space between the staircase and the sidewalk for landscaping. The location of the staircase maintains the existing character of the surrounding dwellings and is an appropriate fit within the community. No comments were raised by any of the circulated agencies, and no comments were received from members of the public. Based on the contents of the report, staff acknowledges the application meets all 4 tests of a minor variance and respectfully recommends approval of the application, subject to the conditions identified within the report. Thank you.
All right. We thank you for the presentation, but also very welcome. And just to let the committee know, brand new planner, and we welcome you, and you're doing a fine job. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions of Ms. Coughlin? Being none, is the applicant here or is the applicant online? The applicant wish to speak to the application? Oh, I'm getting a nod.
Hi, the applicant is here.
Name is?
Hello?
Your name, please?
It's Violet Nave.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I have no comments. Just wanted to say thank you. That's all.
Well, thank you for taking the time. Are there any questions of the... All right, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time.
All right, thank you.
All right. Is there anyone here online wishing to speak in support of the application? In support of the application? Anyone here online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Opposition to the application? I'm advised none. Committee, where are we? Ms. Archer?
Printed.
Do I have a seconder? Mr. Finn, did I see your hand there?
Yes, yes.
Any further comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? Being none, all those in favor? And that carries. All right, thank you. All right, moving right along, we're dealing with file number D20-2026-067, and this is 11 Clonsilla Drive. Where are we? GF Township of Verlin. Mr. Ghaffari.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So 4.1.3, 11 Clonsilla Drive, Verulam. The subject property municipally addressed as 11 Clonsilla Drive is situated in the geographic township of Verulam and is accessed from Clonsilla Drive. The property currently contains a single detached dwelling, garage, and carport. The application seeks to facilitate the recognition of an existing attached carport being converted into an addition to the dwelling. Relief is required from the interior side yard setback and water setback provisions. The subject property is zoned limited service residential LSR zone under the Township of Verulam zoning bylaw 6-87. Section 10.2.f of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 3 meters on one side and 1.8 meters on the other side. The proposed side yard setback from the addition is 2.57 meters. The intent of a side yard setback is to ensure that privacy is maintained, space for maintenance and access is provided, space for lot drainage is provided, and overcrowding is avoided. As the side lot line adjacent to the addition is lined with tall trees, impacts to privacy are not anticipated. There is space provided between the interior lot line and the proposed addition for access and building maintenance. Excuse me. Moreover, lot drainage issues and overcrowding are not anticipated. Section 10.2.h of the zoning bylaw requires a water setback of 15 meters. The water setback from the proposed addition is 12 meters. The intent of the water setback is to provide a buffer between built form and water to protect built form from natural hazards, protect the ecological state of water bodies, enhance the ecological function of water bodies, and preserve shoreline conditions and vegetation. The addition does not introduce built form closer to the shoreline than what currently exists, as there is a single detached dwelling closer to the water. Sufficient space for vegetation and drainage is also maintained. As a result, the variance is considered to maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. In terms of comments were received after the writing of the report from the engineering department, the building and septic division, and the Part 8 sewage system supervisor, indicating that they have no concerns. Furthermore, Kawartha Conservation also indicated that they are in support of the variance and that a permit has been previously granted. Staff acknowledges that the application meets all four tests of a minor variance and recommends approval of the application, subject to the conditions identified.
All right, thank you, sir. Questions of the planner, Mr. Finn?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to maybe this question should be answered by someone other than the planner. Earlier, comments were made with regard to the amendments of these applications and various elements of variances that are being requested. And when I asked whether that made any difference in terms of notice, the answer was if it was dropped, there would be no problem. Here we're adding something to the application. Does that affect the notice provision?
Director Barry, do you wish to respond to that?
Thank you for the question, and good opportunity to sort of continue on the theme. So thank you, Member Finn, for the question. The technical answer is that notice should include reference to provisions in the zoning bylaw, no matter which zoning bylaw is being amended. So technically, yes, provisions should be referenced in the notice. That said, there are two, in my opinion, compelling reasons that the members should not be overly concerned or concerned at all, perhaps, with the fact that an additional or new relief is added, and that being, well, number one, the sheer timing of the new zoning bylaw, quote unquote, dropping after notice was published, and with the amount of exposure that we're giving it or airtime to describe its effect today. But secondly, because of the description of the details of the variance and the sketch that shows the effect of the proposal at hand. For those reasons, even with an additional new relief added, we still maintain that sufficient notice was provided. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Mr. Finn?
Thank you.
Anything further of the planner? All right. Is the applicant here or online?
Yes, I'm here online.
Your name, sir?
Is Richie Cameron. I'm the applicant on behalf of the owners, Malcolm Gibson.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for their hard work this far. It's always a challenge when building near the water and some of these tighter cottage lots. So we've sort of executed all the various steps of septic inspections and proper site planning, consultations with the planners, etc. And in everybody's view, I think it's a pretty straightforward proposal where we're not looking to get any closer to the water or closer to side yard setbacks. We're just sort of simply changing the use of what's already there. Obviously being a minor impact on anybody in the community, and we appreciate everybody's time and consideration. That's it for today. Thanks.
All right, and we thank you, sir, for taking the time. So that's much appreciated. All right, are there any questions of the applicant? All right, being none, is there anyone here online wishing to speak in support of this application? Support of the application? Anyone here online wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Opposition, I'm told no. Committee, where are we? Mr. Strangway.
As recommended by staff.
All right. And seconded by Mr. Finn?
Yes.
Any further comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? All those in favor? And that carries. All right. Let's do a little something else here. This is probably going to be a bit of a day, so...
Thanks, everyone.
Which application are you with, sir? Number 7? What is the 170 Sturgeon? Let's have a look here. Where are we? Okay, that would be number 6. All right. And you gentlemen at the back there, who are you with? Just give us the name of your street. Charlotte Crescent? Which one is that? Oh, number 11, all right. And The ladies at the front there, who are we? Which one? Oh, that's right at the end, all right. All right. All right, what I'm going to ask the committee is that we, rather than having these folks sit around while we go through all of this, it's been a long day already. Now, I'm going to expect applause after I do this, okay? So, yeah. All right, I'm going to ask that 4.1.6, where's the other one that I had? 4.1.6, 4.1.11, and 4.1.12 be moved up to the front now and be dealt with in order of their numbers. Is everyone happy? Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, thank you. I take that bow there. Yeah, all right. All right, committee, I'll ask you a show of hands. Are you content with that? We are? All right, very good. All right, that being the case, then we will deal with file number D20-2026-070, and this is 170 Sturgeon Glen Road, Geographic Township of Fenelon. And that is Mr. Shahid. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject property is situated on the shoreline of Sturgeon Lake in a low-density residential neighborhood with access from Sturgeon Glen Road. So the subject property currently contains a one-story single detached dwelling with lakeside deck, a detached garage, boathouse, and a shed. The proposal seeks to facilitate the construction of a loft addition, house extension, and a new lakeside covered deck. With reference to the images on the slide, I have shown the dwelling in its current condition as viewed from both the lakeside and roadside. It must be noted that the existing dwelling is already deficient with respect to both the water setback and the side yards. As such, any further construction would have likely required a variance. The proposed loft addition is smaller in comparison to the footprint of the dwelling, and the height of the dwelling will not be increased. Furthermore, the proposed setbacks are pinch points, and the remainder of the dwelling and all attached components are further from the side lot lines. The closest point to the shoreline will be the deck and not any proposed habitable space. After the writing of the report, the Development Engineering Division, the Building Division, and the Septic Division all stated they have no comments or concerns. The Kawartha Region Conservation Authority stated they are in support of the application and that a permit will be required from their end. To conclude, we respectfully recommend approval of the application, subject to the conditions identified. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Questions of the planner. Ms. Archer.
Would you please tell me what a pinch point is?
Through you, Mr. Chair. By pinch point, I mean that the setbacks that need relief are just the closest points. Like, for example, if the building is tilted, there's just a point that's closest, whereas it strays further away.
Anything further with the planner? Being none. Are you the applicant, sir, for this? No? Where are we?
Yes, I'm
You
here.
are?
Thank you.
Very good.
Ken Curry.
And your name, Ken? Mr. Curry, all right.
Yep.
Please.
The only thing I have to say is thank you for staff for their thoroughness and their support and direction in this project, and we look forward to doing our project with you.
Thank you very much for that. All right. Questions of the applicant? All right. Is there anyone here online wishing to speak in support of this application, support of the application? Anyone here online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Opposition to the application? I'm advised no. Committee, where are we? Ms. Archer. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Finn?
Yes.
Further comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? Being none, all those in favor? That carries, and your application is approved, sir.
Thank you very much, and have a great afternoon.
And you. File number D20-2026-076. This is 33 Charlotte Crescent, Geographic Township of Emily. Mr. Ghaffari, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 4.1.11, 33 Charlotte Crescent, Emily. The subject property, municipally addressed as 33 Charlotte Crescent, is situated in the geographic township of Emily and is accessed from Charlotte Crescent. The property currently contains a single detached dwelling, cabin, and shed. The application seeks to facilitate the construction of a sunroom. Relief is required from the water setback provision. The subject property is zoned rural residential type 3 or R3 zone under the Township of Emily zoning bylaw 1996-30. Section 12.2.1.3.e of the zoning bylaw requires a water setback of 30 meters. The proposed sunroom addition has a water setback of 13.15 meters. The intent of the minimum water setback is to provide a buffer between built form and water to be able to protect built form from natural hazards, protect the ecological state of water bodies, enhance the ecological function of water bodies, and preserve vegetation, among other things. The proposed sunroom addition is located a substantial distance away from the water and visually integrates with the existing dwelling while providing a safe and functional connection to the waterfront. Sufficient space for vegetation and drainage is also maintained. As a result, the variance is considered to maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. In terms of comments were received after the writing of the report from the engineering department, the building and septic division, and the Part 8 sewage system supervisor, indicating that they have no concerns. Furthermore, Kawartha Conservation also indicated that they are in support of the variance and that they would require a permit. Staff acknowledges that the application meets all 4 tests of a minor variance and recommends approval of the application subject to the conditions identified.
Thank you, sir. Questions of the planner? Mr. Finn?
Through you, Mr. Chair, looking at Appendix C, which shows the position of the cottage as well as the proposed sunroom, is the cottage located closer to the water?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the cottage is located, I believe, 13 meters from the water setback, and the sunroom addition will be 13.15 meters, so not beyond what currently exists.
Thank you.
Anything further of the planner? All right. Does the applicant wish to speak to the application? Gentlemen, I believe that was... Contractors on the line for 33 Charlotte Crescent.
Thank you very much, Council.
Your voice. You're the contractor for Charlotte Crescent?
I am indeed. Thank you very much. I appreciate the great work you guys doing at your committee.
And your name is?
I'm Ken Tompkins from Sunspace of Lakefield.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you very much for your great service.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate all the positive comments we can get, believe me. All right. Are there any questions of the deputy? All right. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you taking the time. Is there anyone here online wishing to speak in support of this application? Support of the application? Anyone here online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Opposition to the application? Being none, committee, where are we? Mr. Finn?
As recommended by staff.
Do I have a seconder? Mr. Strangway? All right. Any further comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? Being none, all those in favor? And that carries. The application is approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And we're now dealing with file number D20-2026-077, and this is 183 McCracken Avenue, Geographic Township of Carden. Mr. Okawat, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property is located within a waterfront community along Lake Darlimpo. Apologies, it's in a lake. The property contained a cottage that was built in 1950 based on data from Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, or MPAC for short. The original cottage has been demolished, and the proposed development involves constructing a new cottage in approximately the same location as the previous structure. Relief is requested from the side yard setback and water setback. The property is zoned Limited Service Residential Exception 1, or LSR-1, under the Township of Carden zoning bylaw. The zoning bylaw requires a water setback of 20 meters. The proposed cottage has a water setback of 12.49 meters. The intent of this provision is to protect development from natural hazards and preserve the ecological function of water bodies by maintaining a vegetated buffer that supports the local habitat and shoreline stability. The proposed cottage is located in approximately the same area as the original cottage that was demolished. Relocating the cottage farther from the shoreline would adversely affect the existing hydro lines that run along the north side of the property. Furthermore, sufficient vegetation and natural features remain on the property to support the ecological health of the local habitat and adjacent water body. The zoning bylaw requires a side yard setback of 3 meters on one side and 2.2 meters on the other side. The proposed cottage has a side yard setback of 2.27 meters to the east lot line and 2.13 meters to the west lot line. The intent of this provision is to provide adequate privacy between neighboring lots and to ensure enough space for maintenance can be conducted. In this case, the setback from the east lot line is sufficient. However, the setback from the west lot line is deficient by 0.73 meters. The proposed reduction to the side yard setback is considered minor and will continue to provide adequate privacy and sufficient space for property maintenance. Existing vegetation along the side lot lines will further maintain privacy, and the proposed cottage complies with the maximum permitted building height. Overall, the requested setback reduction is not expected to result in any adverse impacts on adjacent properties or the surrounding area. Comments were received after the writing of the report from the engineering department as well as building division, indicating that they have no concerns. Comments were also received after the writing of the report from the septic division that adds a condition that states approval under Ontario Building Code pertaining to private sanitary waste disposal be obtained within a period of 12 months after the date of notice of decision. Finally, comments were also received from Kawartha Conservation indicating that they are in support of the proposed development and a permit will not be required. Staff acknowledges the application meets all 4 tests of a minor variance and respectfully recommends approval of the application subject to the conditions identified. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions of the planner? Being none? Yes, do you wish to speak to it? And your name?
I am Brianna Allen, the applicant of the application. One thing I'd just like to add is the clients have gone to Hydro requesting the hydro lines to be moved back to allow the setback, but they had pushback from the neighbors asking them not to move it, but they would support the building being closer to the setback from the waterfront.
Thank you. Questions of the applicant? All right, being none. All right. All right, is there anyone here online wishing to speak in support of this application, in support of the application? Anyone here online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Opposition to the application. Committee. Ms. Archer.
As amended.
Do I have a seconder? Mr. Strangway. Any further comments or questions with respect to the amended motion on the floor? Being none, all those in favor? And that carries. Your motion or your application is approved. I'm sorry, I missed one, didn't I? Which one are you? Oh, you're 2. Oh, you really clean things up. Run that by me again. 4.1.8 and 4.1.9? 10, all right. All right, committee, same thing. I'm going to ask that those 2 be moved up and that we deal with them in numerical order. Everyone in favor of that? All right. Okay. I do apologize for that. All right. And we're now dealing with file number D20-2026-072, and this is 5 Juniper Park Road, Geographic Township of Virlum. Mr. Shahid, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just give me a second to go back on the slides here. The subject property is located northeast of the intersection of Juniper Park Road and Asturian Road, nearby the Bobcaygeon River, in an area predominantly made up of low-density residential lots. The property currently contains a recently constructed single detached dwelling. The proposal seeks to facilitate the construction of a two-story detached garage. The proposed garage is approximately 230 square meters in ground floor area, 3 bays. There's a workshop space and a second-story space for storage and a balcony. The applicant has indicated that the second story will be used for storage and for a golf simulator. The balcony is intended for a couple of chairs as additional outdoor amenity space. So before proceeding, I just want to note that I did have a discussion with the applicant to explore alternative locations, and it was agreed upon that this is the best location on the site. There was an agreement to shift the proposed garage further from the side lot line, as originally the proposed side yard was not compliant, but now it does comply with the zoning bylaw. There was also discussion regarding locating the garage in the rear yard. However, the owner on site had indicated to me that the rear neighbor was not in favor of that. The proposed garage is to be located in the southeast corner of the property, which has dense vegetation along the lot line, screening it from Asturian Road and from the neighboring residential lot. Due to the configuration of the lot and the location of the existing dwelling, placing a garage in the side yard is not possible due to the location of the existing septic bed. On site, it would appear that the garage is located in the exterior side yard, as that is how the site appears and functions on ground. The owner has landscaped the property in order to provide a visual buffer from the garage to the nearby neighbor and from Asturian Road. You'll be able to better see examples of the efforts of landscaping in the photos provided by the applicant, which they will be presenting later on. After the writing of the report, the Development Engineering Division, the Building Division, and the Septic Division all stated they have no concerns. The Kawartha Region Conservation Authority stated they are in support of the proposal and that a permit will be required. All in all, we respectfully recommend approval of the application, subject to the revised conditions identified. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Questions of the planner? Yes, Mr. Finn?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I understand that the existing dwelling is a single-story existing dwelling. Do you have any comments on the visual appearance of a two-story garage versus a single-story residential dwelling?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So one thing that I took a look at was in terms of how much of the property is covered by each. So essentially the building footprint, and the building footprint of the dwelling would remain larger than that of the proposed garage. In terms of the height, yes, the garage is proposed to be taller than the dwelling. But the dwelling is located closer to the road of Juniper Park Road, and Juniper Park Road is it's a highly traversed road. There's many cars that go through it, so it is the main structure viewed from the road. The proposed garage is located in a portion of the property that's heavily screened in, so it's the existing dwelling would remain the predominant use when viewed from the public view.
Thank you.
Anything further to the committee? Ms. Archer?
Through you, please. Are there any, have we heard any concerns from the neighbors to the, I guess it would be west?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no, not at this time.
Anything further from committee? All right. Do you wish to speak to it? And just for the record, I know you've been here a number of times. If you give us your name, please.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Vanessa Archer from TD Consulting,
Thank
applicant
you.
on the file. As mentioned, there's some additional photos that we took just so that you can have a little more context. If you just want to go to the next one, maybe. So that is the view from Asturian Road, which shows that little cedar hedge in front of the house. The garage is actually proposed to be towards the right of that, so you can see that other tree that's to the right that's actually kind of blocking it even more from Asturian Road. So he's done a lot of landscaping and revegetation on this property to beautify it and to add additional screenings from the neighbors. On the other side of Asturian Road is actually County Road 36, yeah, if I'm on the right road there, County Road 36. So you've actually got two roads almost back to back. There's additional screenings. I think there's another picture if we keep going that you can see from, yeah, there's more screenings there from even the County Road 36 that block the view of the actual property as well. So that top left photo, the garage is going to be to the right of that being the dwelling. So there is a lot of screenings in terms of privacy and view and what it's going to look like in terms of being the second story higher than the dwelling. The dwelling has that little, we'll call it a parapet maybe on the top of it. So it kind of adds to the height differences as well. But other than that, I'm really just here if there's any additional questions or concerns.
Thank you. And are there any questions of the applicant? Would appear not. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone here online wishing to speak in support of this application? Support of the application. Anyone here online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Opposition to the application. I'm advised not. Committee, where are we? Mr. Strangway?
As recommended by staff.
And the seconder? Seconder, Mr. Finn. All right. Any further comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? Okay. Oh God, we've had so many of these today. I don't know. I think about half of them have had. I think rather than us having to worry about the amendment or whatever, maybe I think Mr. Strangway used this verbiage a while ago, and I like it. I think it's great, as recommended by staff. So that takes in the fact that it may very well be amended. So let's carry on. Let's try that. Because they're recommending now the little change, but if we put it as recommended by staff, then it covers that. So you're okay with that? Yep.
May I ask one more further question of the deputant? Which orientation, how is the garage going to, where are the openings to the door?
Thank you for going back to the site plan there. So you can see Juniper Park, the driveway comes off Juniper Park, kind of winds down in front of the house, and then the openings of the garage are, you drive right into it from the driveway, the way that it turns.
So the doors are on this side, on the left side?
Correct, which would be the southeast side, I guess.
Thank you.
All right, anything further? All right. Did I have a motion? Yeah, Mr. Strangway, okay, as recommended by staff, seconded by Mr. Finn. Any further comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? All those in favor? That carries, and your application is approved. All right. And moving right along, we're now dealing with file number, and if I get this wrong, someone yell at me, but I think it's D20-2026-075. This is 439 Mount Horeb Road, Geographic Township Ops, and Mr. Shahid. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject property is situated at the northeast intersection of Tower Road and Mount Horeb Road, with the driveway being from Mount Horeb Road. So the property currently contains several structures, including but not limited to a single detached dwelling, a cottage, a barn, and 2 detached additional residential units, which I'll be referring to as ARUs. With the removal of a cottage building, the proposal seeks to facilitate the recognition of the 2 existing detached ARUs. There are no new buildings or structures that are being proposed. As the subject property is a large rural lot, sufficient area is provided to accommodate 2 detached ARUs. Also, the existing ARUs are both individually smaller in terms of floor area in comparison to the existing primary dwelling. The combined ground floor area of the 2 ARUs are smaller than the floor area of the existing dwelling as well. The proposed development, the existing ARUs, they maintain appropriate setbacks. They adequate servicing and access is provided, and it is not anticipated to result in adverse land use impacts or alter the overall character of the property or surrounding area. After the writing of the report, the Development Engineering Division, the Building Division, and the Septic Division all stated they have no concerns. To conclude, we respectfully recommend approval of the application, subject to the conditions identified. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions of the planner? Ms. Archer?
Does an ARU have to be a year-round residence? Like, these really don't look like year-round residences, but...
Through you, Mr. Chair. No, I don't believe the zoning bylaw regulates whether ARUs have to be year-round residences, no.
Anything further from committee? All right. Do you wish to speak to it? And just for the record, your name again, please.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Vanessa Archer from TD Consulting, the applicant on the file. I really don't have anything additional unless there's specific questions. We are cleaning up a property that currently is not meeting what it should. So if there's any additional questions to that, I'm here.
See, are there any questions of the deputy? Yes, Mr. Strangway.
Just out of interest, how long have the ARU number 1 and number 2 been there?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would have to go back and look at my notes. I'm not sure that I have that information readily available. ARU 1 looks as if it's been there quite a bit longer than ARU 2, as well as the one that's to be removed.
Anything further from committee? All right, thank you. All right. Is there anyone here online wishing to speak in support of this application? Support of the application. Anyone here online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Opposition to the application. Being none, committee, where are we? Mr. Finn?
As recommended by staff.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Strangway? Any further comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? Being none, all those in favor? And that carries. Your application is approved. All right. Oh, and again, if I get this wrong, somebody yell at me. I believe we're now dealing with file number D20-2026-068, and this is 787 Highway 35, Geographic Township of Manvers. Mr. Ghaffari.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 4.1.4, 787 Highway 35, Manvers. The subject property, municipally addressed as 787 Highway 35, is situated in the Geographic Township of Manvers and is accessed from Highway 35. The subject property currently contains a single detached dwelling with an attached garage. The application seeks to facilitate the recognition of a second dwelling unit in the basement of a single detached dwelling. Relief is required from the side yard setback provision and minimum lot area of 4,000 square meters on private services for an ARU provision. The subject property is zoned rural general A1 zone with a clause that requires the property to comply with the permitted uses and zone provisions of the RR1 zone under section 10.3.a of the Township of Manvers zoning bylaw 87-06. Section 3.2.f of the zoning bylaw requires a side yard setback of 6 meters. The existing single detached dwelling has side yard setbacks of 5 meters and 5.3 meters. The intent of a side yard setback is to ensure that privacy is maintained, space for maintenance and access is provided, space for lot drainage is provided, and overcrowding is avoided. The existing second dwelling unit is located in the basement of the existing single detached dwelling. As a result, impacts to privacy are not anticipated. There is space provided between the side lot line and the single detached dwelling for access and building maintenance. Moreover, lot drainage issues and overcrowding are not anticipated. Section 20.30.vi of the zoning bylaw that requires a minimum lot area of 4,000 square meters on private services for an additional residential unit, and the existing lot area is 1,300 square meters. The intent of establishing a minimum lot area requirement for properties serviced by private water and wastewater systems is to ensure that there is sufficient space to accommodate and maintain these systems on site. Lots that do not meet the minimum area threshold would require further review to assess whether they can appropriately support an ARU. In this case, although the lot is smaller than required, the ARU currently exists within the basement of the existing single detached dwelling. As a result, the lot can accommodate the ARU as it maintains the footprint of the main dwelling, provides sufficient access, and is not anticipated to result in any adverse impacts. As a result, the variance is considered to maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. In terms of comments were received after the writing of the report from the engineering department, the building and septic division, and the Part 8 sewage system supervisor, indicating that they have no concerns. Comments were also received after the writing of the report from the Ministry of Transportation, indicating that they have no concerns. Staff acknowledges that the application meets all 4 tests of a minor variance and recommends approval of the application subject to the conditions identified.
Thank you, sir. Questions of the planner, Mr. Strangway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question. What's the difference between an ARU now and a basement apartment? These used to be quite common as basement apartments and so on. And so has ARUs taken that over, or is there a difference? Or?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe there's no difference. It's just a term that is used. A different term, I should say.
Yeah, I had the same question, Steve, like, yeah, what, are we trying to be just fancy now or sophisticated, or I don't know, so. All right, anything further of the planner? All right, being none, is the applicant here, or I guess not, is the applicant online? Does the applicant wish to speak to it? Okay, we can't hear you, ma'am. Have you got a button there you can push?
Sorry, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, your name, please?
Okay, it's Heather Nolan.
Thank you, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you all for your time.
Go ahead, please.
Just thank you for your time and consideration on this.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions of the applicant?
Thank you.
All right. You don't wish to say anything further about the application?
No, thank you.
All right. All right, thank you for taking the time. Is there anyone here online wishing to speak in support of this application, support of the application? Anyone here online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Opposition to the application? Do we have something, Ilana? No? Okay, all right. I'm advised there isn't anyone. Where are we, committee? Mr. Strangway.
As recommended by staff.
Do I have a seconder? Mr. Finn. Any further comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? All those in favor? That carries. Your application is approved. Thank you, ma'am. We've approved your application.
Thank you very much.
Moving right along, we're now dealing with file number D20-2026-069. This is 27 Campbell Beach Road, Geographic Township of Carden. Mr. Ghaffari, you wish to speak to a deferral or potential deferral?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So since the circulation of the application, updated information has been received that requires re-advertisement to the public. So we recommend that the application be deferred for a period of no more than 1 month to allow time for the applicants and owners to work with staff to address the matter. So I will now pass this on to you, Mr. Chair, for deliberation with the committee.
All right, thank you. And before we get a motion, are there any questions of the planner with respect to the deferral? All right, then the motion can only talk about time frame, and that I believe you said the next meeting in August?
Yes, for a month.
Yeah, deferred for a month. All right. Can I get a motion to that effect then? Ms. Archer, do I have a seconder? Mr. Finn, that the motion be deferred no later than the August meeting? All right. Any further comments or questions? All right. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you. And now we're moving on down to, let's see, file number D20-2026-071. And this is 134 Grove Road, Geographic Township of Fenelon. And again, Mr. Ghaffari, you're talking about a deferral.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for 134 Grove Road, Fenelon, as a result of the circulation of the application, the KRCA has requested that this application be deferred for further review. So we recommend that the application be deferred for a period of no more than 1 month to allow time for the applicants and owners to work with staff to address the matter. So once again, I will pass this on to you, Mr. Chair, for deliberation with the committee.
Thank you. Questions of the committee? All right. Do I have a motion then to, all right, Mr. Strangway, seconded by Mr. Finn, and deferred for no later than 1 month, the August meeting. All right. Any further comments or questions on that? All those in favor of the motion on the floor? That carries. All right, the deferral granted. All right. Now we're moving along to file number D20-2026-073, and this is 32 Durham Street West, former town of Lindsay. Mr. Okawat, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property is situated within a residential community within the former town of Lindsay with access from Durham Street West. The existing dwelling was built in 1910 based on data from the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation. The purpose of this proposal is to legalize an already constructed rear yard addition to the dwelling. Relief is required from the interior side yard setback and maximum lot coverage. The property is zoned residential 2 under the Town of Lindsay zoning bylaw. The zoning bylaw requires an interior side yard setback of 1.25 meters. The proposed addition will result in an interior side yard setback of 1.17 meters from the east lot line. The intent of this provision is to provide adequate privacy between neighboring lots and to ensure enough space for maintenance to be conducted. The proposed addition will not further encroach into the interior side yard setback and will be located slightly farther from the property line than the existing dwelling. Furthermore, adequate separation exists and privacy concerns are not anticipated. The zoning bylaw also permits a maximum lot coverage of 35%. The proposed addition will result in a lot coverage of 57%. The purpose of this provision is to manage density and preserve open space to ensure that the residential character of the neighborhood is maintained. The subject property is smaller than most of the neighboring properties, but the existing dwelling is of a smaller size to others on larger lots in the area, resulting in an increased lot coverage. Even with the rear addition, significant amenity space is preserved in the rear yard. As a result, the proposed addition will enhance the functionality of the property while making efficient use of the limited space available. Furthermore, the proposed rear yard expansion will not alter the existing neighborhood character, as it will have no impact on the streetscape. Comments were received after the writing of the report from the engineering department and the building division, indicating that they have no concerns. Staff acknowledges the application meets all 4 tests of a minor variance and respectfully recommends approval of the application subject to the conditions identified. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Questions of the planner, Ms. Archer?
Sorry, through you, please. I have a couple of places it's called proposed addition, and in the beginning it says it's legalize an already constructed.
Through the chair, yes, the building has already, or the addition has already been constructed. So this is to legalize, but throughout the report, I do say that it is proposed. Yeah, but it's already there.
Anything further from committee? All right, is the applicant online? Does the applicant wish? Yeah, your name, sir?
Larry Ham.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Nothing. I would just like to say thank you for consideration, and I would like it legalized.
All right, and thank you for your comments, and we appreciate you taking the time. All right. Is there anyone here, anyone online wishing to speak in support of this application? Support of the application? Anyone online wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Opposition to the application? Being none, committee? All right, Mr. Strangway, seconded by Ms. Archer. All right. Any further comments or questions with respect to the motion on the floor? All those in favor? And that carries. Your application is approved, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, what do we got? Under other business, anything from staff? Director? No? All right, nothing over there. How about committee? Anything you'd like to talk about? Well, everybody's talked out, I guess. All righty, and the next meeting is Thursday, August the 27th, 1 p.m. in the council chambers. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Strangway, Mr. Finn, all those in favor? And that carries. Thank you.